very warm welcome to you. I am Shiksha Arora and this is Weekend with Betty. No, I'm not Betty, of course. I'm standing in for her. And yeah, in case you're wondering what's going on, well, we've got a lot lined up for you. Tonight is going to be a very interesting one. I've got Willis with me later on. So remember, Willis is the word master. We all know him. He is quite famous for his pronunciation. I hope I said it right. Willis, how are you tonight?
Fine, Shiksha. In fact, you said it in a way that I would call spot on. Oof. How are you?
Okay. Thank you so much. You look lovely. I love the whole outfit.
Yeah, and when it comes to just the name, the uniqueness of the name, Shiksha, and then the work that you always do, Shiksha, I'll tell you, you deserve a special salute from me.
Oh, thank you so much. What a great way to start the show. Willis, we'll be getting back to you. I want to ask you a couple of questions, burning questions, such that I'm sure our audience also will relate to these very interesting words that we've been seeing all over social media, but we don't really know the correct pronunciation. So Willis is the right person for that. But for now, I'm going to be walking to this side. And with me, I have Mulamwa Mambo.
Sasa Shiksha.
We're matching. You have a green cap, I have a green dress.
You're looking amazing.
Thank you.
Hi guys. It's Weekend with Betty.
Yes.
Of course, I'm not Betty. I'm Mulamwa.
And I'm Shiksha. And tonight we are going to be having a very interesting conversation. Mulamwa, these days you are trending.
I started in 2019.
Wait, okay.
In fact,
humility was thrown out of the studio. But you know what, Mulamwa, I want to know all about the last few days especially.
Okay.
You had a show that was sold out,
yeah,
which was incredible as well. So congratulations
Thank
for
you
that,
so much.
firstly.
I appreciate.
You also posted a photo of a certain woman. So we'd like to know more about this woman.
It was AI.
It was AI.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we want to know. Which app he used, which AI app he used, because I would like to also, you know, do the
realistic.
same. It was very realistic.
Really?
Yeah, I fell for it.
That's AI.
That's AI.
I'll show you the app.
All right, yeah. Cool. We'll do it after this break. But for now, let's get right into the gist of things and let's have the highlights. Top on this Friday with Betty. The interview process for the IEBC commissioners completed today.
The panel will take due diligence in accordance with the Constitution, which requires that we bring people that are competent with regional representation, gender representation, and inclusion matters.
A process that lasted a whole month with 100 candidates being assessed. Former Prime Minister Raila Odinga has called on leaders to stop criticizing Siaya Governor James Orengo and Kisumu Governor Anyang' Nyong'o over their comments on the broad-based government.
When Mr. James Orengo talks, he's talking on the basis of an MOU between ODM and UDA. Orengo has not committed any crime.
The Office of the Controller of Budget is now requesting an increase in its budget to enable it to carry out its mandate without financial constraints.
To ensure that we even monitor and evaluate national government over and above the county governments. See, currently with the little budget, we've been getting about 25 million for monitoring and evaluation.
A very warm welcome to you, and of course, in case you've just joined us, I am Shiksha Arora, and this is Weekend with Betty. I'm sitting in for Betty Kialo, and my sign language interpreter tonight is Roda Nyamai. Let's get right into the top story. Now, former President Uhuru Kenyatta and a section of Kenyan political and judicial leaders attended a memorial mass in honor of Pope Francis ahead of his burial scheduled for Saturday morning at St. Peter's Basilica in Rome. This particular story will definitely be coming out later on in this broadcast. But for now, let's move on to authorities in Kilifi County who have shut down a church in Malindi over allegations of promoting cult-like practices. Now, the closure of the new foundation church in Chakama that is following an operation led by Area Deputy County Commissioner Samuel Mutisia, and as investigations into the conduct of the church and its leadership intensify, Willie Dennis Jiru now has all the details. Take a look.
A church in Chakama, Malindi is now at the center of controversy as a multi-agency security team moves in to investigate claims of cult practices.
Kuna waumini wameweza kupoteza maisha yao katika mahali hapa katika ile hali ya anawaombea.
The man at the center of the storm, Pastor Gandhi, is accused of leading ritual-like practices, including one bizarre incident where followers were allegedly instructed to climb a tree for instant deliverance from demonic possession.
Waumini wale wamekuja na ni kama wamepangawa ama wako na mapepo, wanapanda huo mti na wakipanda huo mti mapepo yana mbumburuka.
Authorities say a worshipper died under unclear circumstances within the church compound. This as Pastor Gandhi, now in custody, claiming the death occurred before prayers could begin.
Ndio akaga kabla hata sijafika hapa kanisani. Wakati huo nilipokuwa Malindi. Lakini sijahudumia mtu pale pale na akafa pale pale.
The government has intensified security on places of worship in the wake of recent crackdowns on alleged religious cults. Investigations are underway to determine if New Foundation Church is a legitimate place of worship or a front for more sinister activities.
Bado threat ya hii maneno ya dini, tunasema nini, dini haramu. You know, these cults ambayo inaendelea kwa nchi na radicalization kwa mambo ya religion ni kitu ambayo lazima tuendelee kupambana.
For now, the church remains shut as authorities comb through evidence and testimonies to establish whether the line between religion and cultism was crossed. For TV47, I'm Willie Dennis Njiru.
All right, now moving on. Former President Uhuru Kenyatta and a section of Kenyan political and judicial leaders attended a memorial mass in honor of Pope Francis ahead of his burial scheduled for Saturday morning at the St. Peter's Basilica in Rome. Now, the service held at Holy Family Basilica in Nairobi was marked by prayers, tributes, and messages reflecting the Pope's legacy of humility, peace, and service to God. Here's more from Willie Dennis Njiru.
With the world preparing to bid final farewell to Pope Francis, Kenyan leaders gathered for a solemn mass at Holy Family Basilica, reflecting on a papacy that touched millions. In attendance was former President Uhuru Kenyatta, who remembered Pope Francis as a humble servant of God, one who inspired hope and unity. Uhuru also shared a personal moment, recalling a request he once made to Pope Francis to meet an unnamed individual, a meeting the Pope graciously accepted.
Anyway, I decided I was going to put the message across. And he said, oh, no problem. So I invited the person over to my office. Before we moved out, sat, and, I went back to my seat. There was silence in the room, so nobody's talking. And His Holiness turned and looked at me and told me, I thought you said you wanted to talk to me.
And Pope Francis did not tire to repeat that he was a sinner in need of mercy. And actually, according to my opinion, that attitude revealed his great holiness, because the holiest people always feel that they are the worst sinners.
Also present was Chief Justice Martha Koome, who hailed the late Pope for his enduring message of peace and justice.
We can ask ourselves whether we are sowing sins of love or we are sowing sins of disunity, whether we are sowing sins of peace or sins of violence.
The Nairobi Mass mirrored memorial services taking place across the globe ahead of the final rites on Saturday, to be presided over by Cardinal Pietro Parolin, the Vatican Secretary of State. Thousands of faithful and dignitaries from around the world are expected to gather at St. Peter's Basilica for the Pope's state funeral. President William Ruto, currently on a state visit to China, will be represented at the Vatican by National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula. The world will unite tomorrow in mourning and in celebration of a life that deeply impacted the church and the global community. Paul Kirobi, TV47.
Now, the selection panel for IEBC commissioners has completed the vetting exercise to identify 6 individuals who will fill the positions of commissioners, including that of the chairperson of the commission. The panel has now entered the report writing phase, during which it is expected to submit 2 names for the chairperson position and 9 names for the commissioner positions to President William Ruto, who will then nominate individuals from the submitted list and then forward the names to Parliament for approval.
Okay, thank you very much. We want to come to you, Mary. Kindly introduce yourself.
After a full month of vetting activities for the position of IEBC chairperson and commissioners, the Nelson Makanda-led panel has finally concluded the exercise. The panel that holds the keys to constituting the electoral body will now proceed on a retreat to compile its report, which will be submitted to President William Ruto. The panel is expected.
We take responsibility for our process.
Panel is expected to present 2 names for the positions of chairperson and 9 names for the commissioner roles. The president will have 7 days to select nominees from the names, after which he will submit the names to Parliament for approval in accordance with the law.
You and us have evaluated the candidates that have come before us, and using that evaluation, the panel will take due diligence in accordance with the Constitution, which requires that we bring people that are competent with regional representation, gender representation, and inclusion matters. So putting all those things, we'll come up with names. And once we have come up with names and forwarded the names to the president, 9 names for members and 2 names for the position of chair.
But even as one of the most important parts of reconstituting the electoral body moves on the next stage, key stakeholders in the coming polls have raised their discontent on the process. The panel has also come under scrutiny from various groups, including opposition leaders, who raised concerns over the addition of 6 names at the later stage, claiming it suggests the existence of hidden agendas. This is as they hinted as the possibility of seeking legal redress if they are dissatisfied with final appointments.
And upon considerations, we also included 6 names, and it was not a sneak in. We published the names so that you could know that we had published the names. We had a duty to do so, and we have done our duty as it were. And you can evaluate even the candidates that were included, the 6 of them. They have come before us, and you can also make your own assessment whether they are capable candidates or they are not capable candidates.
On its last day of interviews, the panel interviewed 3 candidates: Joel Mwita Daniels from Migori County, Stephen Ngeno from Bomet, and Charles Kipyegon from Kericho.
Person to ensure that the engagement there with the political party, because Bwana Chair, some of this particular problem also emanates from our political parties in how these political parties actually carry out themselves and how they engage young people, because also that is a basis. So ensuring that we strengthen even the engagement at the PPLC by ensuring that we have a proper convening power, the finances and the operation, so that we have an engagement which will endear this particular population to participate in this important role.
We can say hooray, or what do we say?
Elizabeth Mutuko, TV47, Nairobi.
Now, an autopsy carried out on Friday at the Lee Funeral Home has revealed that Kariobangi North MCA Joel Munuve Kimanzi died due to 2 major blood clots in his body. Now, according to the post-mortem results, 1 clot was found in his lungs and another in his left leg, both of which restricted oxygen flow to vital organs. As Samira Mohammed now reports, more samples have now been collected for further analysis at the government chemist as investigations continue into his unexpected death.
Leaders, family and friends of Kariobangi North member of County Assembly earlier today arrived at the Lee Funeral Home to witness the autopsy of their loved one.
Today we were here at Lee Funeral Home to perform autopsy of the late Honorable Munuve, who died suddenly and under mysterious circumstances which needed to be clarified. And with me, we had several pathologists who represented many different interests.
In what appeared to be unusual, a team of 7 pathologists led by Chief Government Pathologist Dr. Johansen Odwor were deployed to conduct the autopsy on the body of the member of County Assembly. All the 7 pathologists unanimously concluded that Munovi succumbed to 2 blood clots in his body, which led to an insufficient supply of oxygen to other parts of the body.
By the time he died, there was not much oxygen getting to the body. So we tried to investigate why is it that this person was not getting enough oxygen to the body. So we opened up the body. The main finding were in the lungs. There's a blood vessel called pulmonary artery. This is a blood vessel which blood pass from the heart to the lungs to get oxygen. We saw a very big blood clot there, which was even tightly adherent to the blood vessel.
Johansen further revealed that more samples were collected and taken to the government chemist for toxicology tests for further investigations into the death.
There are so many questions which are there. We decided to take some samples for just to clear any doubt about his cause of death. So there are samples that we've taken for analysis. We've taken samples of what is called histology. Histology is analysis of samples in the microscope.
The family lawyer has, however, blamed the hospital where the member of County Assembly passed on, claiming that they failed to attend to Munovi on time, leading to his demise.
Definitely, the deceased could have not died had he been given the right diagnosis and the right treatment.
Samira Mohammed for TV 47, Nairobi.
Now in politics, ODM party leader Raila Odinga has defended Siaya Governor James Orengo, saying he has not committed a crime for criticizing the broad-based government. Terming it as his democratic right, Odinga, who spoke during a burial in Homa Bay County, equally defended Kisumu Governor Professor Anyang' Nyong'o, who accused President William Ruto of sabotaging devolution. Apollo Kamau now reports.
With tensions mounting in the broad-based government between President William Ruto and ODM party leader Raila Odinga's allies, Odinga, who was in Homa Bay County for the burial of Priscilla Koyo, wife to the 6th Care of the Luo community, Koyo Pien, defended his longtime allies in politics, Governors James Orengo and Professor Anyang' Nyong'o, saying they have committed no crimes for criticizing President William Ruto.
When Mr. James Orengo talks, he's talking on the basis of an MOU between ODM and UDA. Orengo has not committed any crime. He has got a democratic right to say what you're saying.
Orengo has been under pressure over his criticism of the broad-based government after telling President Ruto to his face that he will not be part of the ODM praise and worship team, saying the government and the opposition should not be in the same bed.
I don't praise, song praise. I believe that you're the president and we are going to talk. All of us cannot be in government. Just fight for your right. Just fight for your right.
On his part, Kisumu Governor Anyang' Nyong'o wrote a letter to President Ruto on 22nd of April, criticizing him this week for sabotaging devolution, accusing the national government of clinging on to the Kenya Roads Urban Authority Kura and Kenya Rural Roads Kera funds, which should be managed by county governments.
When Professor Anyang' Nyong'o speaks about devolution, he is talking the language of ODM. And I said it when we were in Siaya. That devolution was the most important feature of this new constitution.
Nandi Senator Samson Cherargei has, on the other hand, accused Orengo and Sifuna of plotting to cripple the broad-based government with their constant criticism of the Ruto administration. Apol Kamau, TV 47.
Meanwhile, as Kenya and the world continue to face a rise in cancer cases and misdiagnosis, a major breakthrough has just been launched to offer new hope. A cutting-edge machine known as the Gallium-68 PET CT scan is now available in Kenya. According to oncologists, it will help doctors detect prostate cancer early, manage it more effectively, and reduce the chances of recurrence. Elizabeth Atieno has the details on this new tool that could change how...
The Healthcare Global Center in Nairobi. This facility now harbors an advanced imaging technology that could be a silver bullet in cancer treatment and prevention. This is Gallium-68 PET CT scan, a cancer screening machine which enhances the detection and management of specific cancers, particularly neuroendocrine tumors and prostate cancer, with the machine capable of detecting recurrence.
So cancer patients in this area, as we know cancer is increasing, can get the same level of care, the best of centers in the world.
This innovation is said to be timely now that there is a worrying trend over the surge in cases of prostate cancer, which is the most prevalent cancer among men in Kenya, accounting for 14.4% of all male cancer cases and 11.7% of all cancer cases in the country.
And when I went for the screening detected that I had a lump in my left breast. So I was carrying a cancerous tumor without knowing. And that is why now I know that cancer is real and anybody can get cancer.
According to medics, this technique also seeks to improve detection, accuracy, reduce radiation exposure, and enhance patient comfort.
We are very big in genomics, proteomics. We want to bring all of that to this part of the country so that here patients can get the right treatment the first time and they don't have to go anywhere else.
The scan is said to be effective in detecting certain types of cancers by highlighting tumors before the cancer spreads. Further, the scans are more specific, reducing false positives and unnecessary biopsies.
Now, with the use of gallium, we are able to do 4 types of different scans, like one for the prostate, one for the neuroendocrine tumors, the other one is for FAPI, and then one for the whole body.
Additionally, the new technology can detect infections and inflammatory conditions such as tuberculosis. Cancer is the third leading cause of death after infectious and cardiovascular diseases, with over 44,000 cancer cases reported in Kenya every year. Elizabeth Atieno, TV 47.
Let's get right into the world of business, and tonight's top story, the National Social Security Fund, that's NSSF, marked its 60th anniversary today with its annual general meeting celebrating 6 decades of helping Kenyan workers save for retirement. Now at the event, stakeholders set an ambitious goal of registering 1 million new members by 2027, aiming to lower the number of Kenyans without any form of retirement coverage, currently at a staggering 83%. Plans are also underway to digitize services for easier access and boost contribution collections, which still trail behind other East African countries. Kyalo Musili reports from the celebrations.
Up like that. Now we want to get to a place whereby now the pension that you receive is just as is nearly equal to what you are getting when you're working, which is where we're heading, so that you retire and you live well. And I'll talk about savings in a few minutes. So we have Kenyans who are going overseas to work in many countries, in Europe, in the Middle East, in Asia, in the Americas, to earn a living. And so we have introduced a new aspect saying that we will not allow you to leave this country unless you open an account with NSSF, so that when you're out there, you're safe, because you will come back home. And when you come back home, you need to have something in your account. You don't come home poor.
For our social security institution, Pillar 1, we are not doing enough. Countries like Brazil are doing 34%. The UK doing 25%. And
importantly, this new act, a very key premise of it is to improve the range, the level, and the type of benefits that.
All right, moving on, the Kenya Homes Expo, which began on the 24th of April and is scheduled to end on the 27th of April 2025, is still ongoing at the KICC, Nairobi. Now, the expo has since been described as the heartbeat of East and Central Africa and the authoritative voice of the real estate market, occupying 3 amazing floors with exhibitors ranging from landowners, realtors, contractors, landscape artists to interior design companies and insurers, as well as bankers. The Kenya Homes Expo is the region's biggest homes show, bringing a wealth of expertise harnessed for 20 years. Take a look.
I would like to announce that our chief guest.
Now, local content creators are set to benefit from the launch of an innovative digital marketplace dubbed Zaumu. The marketplace, which is an end-to-end influencer campaign management solution digital platform, will enable creators and influencers to access jobs and source projects directly from brands listed on the marketplace. The platform aims to bridge the gap between creators and brands by enabling them to collaborate directly and measure the impacts of campaigns and projects. According to Zaumu co-founder Cedric Nzomo, 90% of digital projects earmarked for content creators and influencers never see the light of day, despite increasing budget allocations for digital marketing by brands.
Potential is being led by creators. So it's very clear that creators have not just massive following, but then they also have massive influence in terms of purchase decisions for Gen Zs and millennials. Depending on which study you look at, it's the lowest I've seen is that 60% of millennials and Gen Zs take their purchase advice from content creators. Now, with that in mind, we have to look at where the spend is. And when you look at the total marketing spend for Kenya, 2%, less than 2% goes to content creators. And that's where we're seeing that disparity, because 2% versus 60% potential reach is a very huge gap to bridge. And when you look at platforms and other media channels that are getting a lot more spend, you look at billboards, for example, there are 2,500 billboards across Kenya that are pulling in almost 55 billion shillings every.
Sports news brought to you by Maybet. Join Maybet leo upate free bet papo hapo. Fanya hivi, chagua home team to win, yani number 1, au draw X, au away team 2 kwa game ya siku ya free bet. Weka namba yako ya simu, weka password ya account yako, chagua submit free bet. Utapata free bet kwa account yako ya Maybet. Usisahau kuverify account yako. Kama hutakuwa verified, utapoteza free bet yako after 2 days. Betting is strictly for 18 years and over. Play responsibly. Terms and conditions apply. BCLB number 0000578.
Maybet na minia na najishindia. Pesa inavutia.
All right, let's get into the world of sports, where Olympic 800-meter gold medalist Mary Moraa returned to the track in style today, finishing first in the opening heat of the 400-meter race during the Athletics Kenya track and field competition. The event was held at the Ulinzi Sports Complex in Lang'ata, Nairobi, attracting some of the country's top runners. Elsewhere, Anastasia Cheptoo took top honors in the women's 3,000-meter steeplechase, while Alan Kipsang dominated the men's 10,000-meter race. This marked the 5th edition of the Athletics Kenya competition, aimed at sharpening the skills of local athletes ahead of international events.
The race, we'll be looking at the time. It was 19 after 200 meters. What's she able to do heading into the 150 into that curve?
And moving on to the next story, where Kenya Police FC could go top of the FKF Premier League standings this weekend if they secure a win over KCB FC on Saturday afternoon. Meanwhile, defending champions Gor Mahia, who were recently held to a draw by Talanta, will be aiming to bounce back when they face off with Mara Sugar on Sunday. Tony Kwalanda takes us through the full list of matches lined up for this weekend.
Kenya Commercial Bank FC will have a tough outing in the Football Kenya Federation Premier League this Saturday when they host Police FC at the SportPesa Arena in Murang'a County. The Bankers currently sit in 5th in the standings with 41 points, while Police are 2nd with 49 points.
No, in a match, when you lose, we just lose as a team. And we win as a team. We cannot just pinpoint maybe an individual.
At Kenyatta Stadium in Machakos, visitors Shabana will take on Nairobi City Stars, while Posta Rangers will entertain Murang'a Seal at the same venue. Elsewhere, AFC Leopards will welcome Bidco United at Dandora Stadium, while Bandari FC will travel to play Kariobangi Sharks at the same venue. On Sunday, defending champions Gor Mahia will avoid their 2nd consecutive defeat when they play Murang'a Sugar at Dandora Stadium, while Tusker FC will play Mathare United at the same venue. In Western Kenya, Kakamega Homeboys will welcome Sofapaka at Mumias Sports Complex, while Ulinzi Stars will take on a red-hot FC Talanta. Meanwhile, City Stars, Murang'a Seal and Bidco United are the current occupants of the relegation zone. Tony Kolanda, TV 47 Sport.
Sports News brought to you by Maybets. Join Maybets leo upate free bet papo hapo. Fanya hivi, chagua home team to win, yani number 1 au draw X au away team 2 kwa game ya siku ya free bet. Weka namba yako ya simu, weka password ya account yako. Chagua submit free bet. Utapata free bet kwa account yako ya Maybets. Usisahau kuverify account yako. Kama hutakuwa verified, utapoteza free bet yako after 2 days. Betting is strictly for 18 years and over. Play responsibly. Terms and conditions apply. BCLB number 0000578.
Maybet na minia na najishindia. Pesa inavutia, pesa inavutia.
All right, welcome back. And of course, it's that time where we take a short commercial break. But after we get back, there's a lot that you definitely have to look forward to. For example, we've got Willis, the Word Master. I cannot wait to get into this particular session. You know, back in the day, I would wait eagerly for Betty to do this. And guess what? I'm going to be doing this today, so I'm very excited for that. Apart from that, we'll be having a very hot conversation with Mulamwa. He's been trending for the past few days. Why has he been trending? Well, we'll be asking him, and he will give us exactly what's been going on in his life, and I'm so excited to hear from him about what's been happening, anything new, any new changes to his life. Well, we'll hear it from him himself later on. So for now, let's take that short break. We'll be right back. Coming up after the break. His real name is David Oyando, a prominent Kenyan comedian and content creator known for his engaging skits and relatable humor. He gained widespread recognition through social media platforms, particularly Instagram and WhatsApp, where his short comedic videos resonated with a broad audience. Tonight, keeping up with Mulamwa.